Hi, thanks for tuning in. Thought it would be fun to do a little card pull in honor of the upcoming lunar eclipse, full moon in Libra in Western astrology, uh, Virgo in Vedic. And yeah, it's going to be in honor of the moon. And these first two cards are going to be the eclipse energies between the lunar and the solar eclipse. And then I'm going to go about it a little bit differently, pulling cards, so you'll see. And but if you find yourself listening to this outside of that time window, there's likely or maybe still something here that you need to hear. So thanks for being here. And if you were tuning into my videos this week, thanks for coming along with me as I explore some new avenues. I really appreciate the support in that. And yeah, I wasn't sure if I was going to get to this or not because, in those videos I'm talking about remedies for fear and anger and all this Mars themes. Meanwhile, everything's very Venus right now. I didn't even see that the Venus Saturn conjunction on Thursday. It just snuck up on me. So I hope you're all doing well. I think I heard a lot of people were struggling that day. But it's all for evolution's sake. But yeah, right now as I'm recording this, the moon's in Virgo, building to this full moon lunar eclipse, and it's opposing that Saturn Venus. So, whew, that's like the most concise way to say what that signature could be. There's a lot of ways that it could be interpreted, and then there's like how I personally experienced it, how everyone personally experienced it. But we could just say because the Libra is also ruled by Venus, the Libra moon. So there's a lot more Libra themes happening before, even though the sun's now in Aries and we're going into Aries season. There's a lot of Venus themes of Venus rules the relational aspect of Venus rules Taurus and Libra. So how do you relate inwardly and how do you relate externally? And the funny thing about that is they're related. So it kind of goes both ways. But I thought for the card pull, where I'm going with this is that we would look at, this is the lunar eclipse is a south node eclipse, or in Vedic K2. So there can be some karmic energies and or like the past, reviewing the past, and that can go as far back even into our ancestry, because that's what we're pulling forward with us for healing. So that's what I'm going to ask specific questions, you'll see. But I first drew the High Priestess card to set the stage, and then I decided to go ahead and pull one more. So it's kind of adorable that it's in this deck. It's so soft, like the moon is so intense right now, but we have this like little calico kitty like looking at a yummy cup of coffee at first glance. That's obvious. But the High Priestess is ruled by the moon, so definitely some attention to this like lunar energy and what is being shed light on in your soul right now, like what's up for revision. And I'm going to light some Palo Santo too while I do this. Just clearing the space, clearing your space. I invite you to take a deep breath while I start the reading, and yeah, I guess I already started it, but anyways, I'm forgetting if I mentioned that I've said the prayer that this be in the highest good of any and all that tune in. I think that I have. But if I haven't, know that I did. Oh boy. See, I'm a little loopy. Okay, so getting serious here. Saturn, serious, getting serious. The High Priestess also is there's like a listening to your own inner knowing and own inner intuition with composure. So I feel like there's a message of having composure, or like how they say, like being a cool cat. I have a feeling everyone's kind of losing their SISHIT. I can't even talk. So I'm getting to this. I don't know how clear it's going to be, but I didn't want to not do it. So this reminder to have composure and whatever the moonlight is illuminating for you at this time. Remember that it's going to pass, whatever it is, and if it's coming up, it's ready to be worked with, and that is a positive thing. And then positive thing, Ace of Cups is a really positive card. But it's also connected to emotion. So there's an emotional quality here with the moon and with the cups, and like your own inner emotions. I know in this deck that's the White Sage Tarot, that it correlates them to the chakra colors, and I know the High Priestess is the crown chakra, so like your 7th chakra above your head that connects you to source. So this message also to connect to source instead of the insanity. Yeah, that feels correct. But then with the Ace of Cups, it's going to be the root chakra, so also your 1st chakra, the red, the pink ribbon. So reminding you to ground, to connect to the higher, like we need both. We need to root to rise. And I don't know that coffee's going to help you accomplish that, but the feeling in this cup is more like, when someone puts a lot of love into making a latte for you, there's sort of that feeling, and this reminder of like self-love is really significant, and then bringing the inner observer online. So this High Priestess, like, she's very composed within, and is observing, like, ask yourself, where can you bring more self-love to the situation or yourself? Like, where inwardly are you needing to bring some love? Easier said than done sometimes. If you want like a next level challenge, even the parts of yourself that you struggle with the most or dislike the most, how can you bring love to those parts? And so that was let's draw one more card for this. And then I'll get to the specific questions. So this was like between the full moon and the new moon, kind of the message for the times, even though that's a pretty timeless message. Visually, I love the cards, right? I love calico kitties. I had a dear calico cat in my life in this apartment I had she was ironically named Gypsy, and she was a little social butterfly, but she'd always come up to see me. So also Also, if you're struggling with self-love, are there any animals in your life that see you how you truly are, and you can see yourself through the eyes of them, to soften. And also fill your own cup. Ooh, wow, okay, 9 of Cups. It's funny, the energies feel really intense right now. I'm always surprised when the cards are kind of like pulled different than what I expect. So water, more. The loon pulls on the loon. I'm a loon. The moon pulls on the tides. That's why they call it lunatic. We're all lunatics for this window of time period. So give yourself some grace, and I don't know. What I see when I look at this 9 of Cups card following in relation to the High Priestess and the Ace of Cups is like good things are coming. That refreshing essence you get in spring is coming. Regardless of what might be showing up that's difficult right now. And then it's neat too because so this is like this pink ribbon is connecting to the rainbow ribbon, but then that, it's like also what's your vision, so what's your inner intuition, and your inner vision is really important to be paying attention to right now. That's going to lead to this wish fulfillment, 9 of Cups, free flowing. But I'm hearing that like emotions and letting the emotions flow and filling your own cup, not getting caught up in codependent traps, and or being willing to acknowledge where those exist, significant for this eclipse. And I mean, emotions could be running really high right now with the High Priestess and the Cups. So kind of keeping the composure, but still being willing to get in your body and ground, and let whatever needs to pour out. Oh, I get such a good feeling when I look at that 9 of Cups card. And so part of that message could be that the 9 of Cups is when I say like look at your, like where are you codependent and need to be more self-sufficient, is the Ace of Cups. And then in doing that and following your own inner intuition by the light of the moon is going to lead to this like waterfall of goodness. And also that the hard work pays off. But definitely theme of emotional balance coming through. Balance is the Libra word. And also with Libra, a lot of astrologers like to be like, the cookie cutter variety is like balance, love, harmony, peace, the other. Sure. But in evolutionary astrology, it's the extremes. So be mindful of the extremes right now, or if you're feeling an inner extreme, that coming back to this too shall pass, I can get through this, slowing down, all of these kinds of things. But that it's also okay to embrace the emotional side. It needs an outlet. And this is where it's like finally getting an outlet and you're really close to achieving something. And I would say in this case, it's inner work, hard inner work that's paying off, not necessarily outer work. And all that could have been up for review where Venus met Saturn, because she's now in a new phase. So what you value and how does that work in reality? And what needs to be let go of. So again, the crown chakra, white light. So if you're struggling, this reminder to connect to source, however you do that, in nature, in prayer, in mantra, in breath work, in just remembering, like the stars above you, going to the ocean. Feel free to let me know how you do that. But it can be easy to forget, especially if fear, pain, struggle, challenges, all of it. If it's kind of turbulent, bumpy ride. And you could also maybe meditate on, I like this idea of meditating on the crown and the root chakra at the same time. So imagining like red, glowing, nurturing red at the end of your tailbone. And then also this like beautiful pure white light a few inches above your head. And then imagining a line going up to the sky and then from your tailbone down to the earth, and so you're like rooted and connected into the earth and connected to the sky simultaneously. Okay, so there it is. Okay, now the next card is going to be what you need to detach from in order to do this. Ooh, neat. I already had the questions written out, but that fits nicely. We've got some orange energy here. 4 of Cups and 4 of Pentacles reversed. Ooh, look at that. That's pretty. I don't think I've ever drawn the 4 of Cups in this deck. It's got the 3 cups flowing into it. Ooh, with the orange. And then that's really almost sexy with the 4 of Pentacles reversed. So, I'm like, look at how that ribbon is just wrapping around. So the oranges tends to be the sacral chakra in flow, water, more emotions. And the 4 of Cups can be that finding stability. So that's neat that I pulled that right after talking about that meditation. So easy to say to meditate. It's another thing to sit down and do it, and to do it consistently, even if it's just 5 minutes, even if it's just right now while you're listening to this, giving your breath a little bit of extra attention. Listening can be very meditative. It has us tune in a different way than just visuals. And that's going to be, so now we're moving into the second chakra, the pelvic floor. And I know in other decks it's like, can be the cups are spilled out in this like you're not satisfied. But in this deck, it's more of if you're feeling stuck, you can ask for support. If there's like too much stability. And it's a very creative card though, right? Like, so you're pulling on you're pulling on resources to create something bigger than you possibly right now. And that's over that Nine of Cups. So this finding inner stability and balance without getting too stagnant or too weighed down or stuck in the mud. And then with the Four of Pentacles, this like being careful of greed, and maybe some fears or obsessions about finances are surfacing, that are even making you maybe feel a little bit boxed in. So here, it's that same thing that you want to find your own creative flow, your own vision to move forward. And this, I know in this deck, it reminds you to you can't take money with you. So, so don't overthink it. And just be careful you're not getting too caught up in material things or like hoarding, for the sake of hoarding. It's not fall. We don't need to be little squirrels hiding nuts. It's like time to venture out. And then how that ties into the question is like, so you need to detach from this obsessively worrying about money and stability. And those go hand in hand, right? Because finances bring stability. So how can you find inner stability? How can you find inner stability that isn't dependent on external circumstances? And then with the previous cards and that, how do you connect up to source in order to do that? And trust and let go, and follow your own intuition, and what fills your own cup, and what's your vision for what your greatest wish fulfillment looks like. The full moon, lunar eclipse is, it's a south node eclipse, but it's not right by the south node. So I think over the week we'll be reflecting more on some of that, not necessarily when the full moon peaks. It's going to be like the after effects over the week. And that's when there might be some more like just relational issues, and or how I was saying this, like what could be up for deeper ancestral healing. So now the next card is going to be the message from the ancestors. I'm just breathing while I shuffle the cards. I invite you to just also take some more deep cleansing breaths as you reflect on what's been shared. Three of Wands. Now we got a blue ribbon. So Wands, some transformative energy. So message from the ancestors. Is again this you can't get there alone message. You're well on your way, but the blue ribbon is like clear communication, and then there's also this message of like we might need to ask for support or friendships, or how do we work together and come out of isolation. Yeah. Clear communication is a lifelong endeavor, but that's always a wonderful reminder. And this is going to be your throat chakra. So what's getting in the way of what you need to say and your truth? And I also feel like that's saying take care of and heal your friendships, because they're going to be important moving forward. And then I just look down and look at the deck is sitting like the Wheel of Fortune card is there. So that's definitely moving forward. And so that's the message from the ancestors. The next card is going to be what karma needs healing. Four of Wands reversed. You know, the Four of Wands upright is just so, you know, things are like going your way. So if things aren't going your way, what is that bringing up that in you that needs healed? And that also, again, is pointing to communication and difficulty. So wherever there's communication challenges, the Four of Wands reverse, that's really important. And it's actually kind of funny because I know in this deck it says, you know, have the hard talks with the important people in your life. And that's going to be where the healing takes place. So, and I feel like that is very appropriate for this full moon. You know, it's like an age-old adage that communication is key in relationships. So, identifying where those difficulties are, or where the, you know, like what's holding you back, and finding ways to get through that. You know, the shadow side of Libra is not wanting to be in conflict, but there's certain times where you need to, and you need to call something out, and you need to not, you know, ignore the elephant in the room or sweep things under the rug, because that can cause a bigger disaster, and it can have much bigger consequences. So yeah, even if that's not what you end up doing, even just contemplating it over the next week, it's, you either already know, or you could be reflecting on it. And I hope this is okay to say too. You know, it's death is kind of taboo to talk about, but if you know, if someone you loved died tomorrow, is there anything you wish you would have said? And that's maybe making it pretty intense, but eclipses, a lot of souls choose to go around eclipse time. And you just never know. And as I go through my own pretty intense grief process, I feel like that's worth mentioning. And maybe that's just me channeling ancestors, you know, say what you need to say. And then while I was shuffling, I just got some reactivity from the Ace of Wands reversed. So like something's kind of holding back from us transforming, and that could be that Saturn heaviness, you know, like Venus just approached Saturn, and then Mars just went into Pisces. And so Mars rules all this Aries energy, and but it's in a water sign, so it might be softening things, causing delays. Saturn can sometimes cause a delay, an obstacle, a limitation. Also, the earlier, how do you love your limitations? That can be a very Venus, Saturn, Moon message. And then, you know, because this was just the like the karma that needs healing and messages from the ancestors. So might not be so easy to have that conversation, or like that's what's needed before the creative inspiration can flow again. Or maybe just even like you're just not feeling super inspired. That's okay. Often the difficult conversations are places where things are just stuck. And so but then, you know, when you finally do get the courage or the confidence to broach it and have like a really good soul to soul talk with someone, it like opens things up. So it might depend on timing. It might not be what like needs to happen right this second, but just be contemplating it over the next week if you're hearing and this resonates. And and this doesn't even need to be like a conversation with a friend or a person. This can be an inner conversation you're also having with yourself, where you're getting frustrated with your own setbacks, limitations, where things aren't moving as fast as you want. They're probably not going to move fast right now, to be honest, with Mars in Pisces and Mercury retrograde. So inviting in a little bit more reflection. If you like to journal, you could, if you're inspired to, you could have a hard conversation with yourself. That's so Saturn, Venus, man. Or you could channel a letter from your ancestors, like what needs to come through, and have that conversation, you know, just do like a free write where you don't think about it. We also had that message to like not overthink things. You can ask questions. Yeah, that's feeling really good. That's why that card came out. And you can also inner dialogue with different parts of you, like what parts of you are hurt and need some attention, what parts of you are struggling. I know a lot of struggle has come up this past week, and then just like building with the moon. So, and then with that, the next card's going to be, where do we need more discrimination or detachment? We already sort of talked about detachment, but King of Cups. So your inner indulger, or your inner carefree masculine, or maybe there's a male in your life that take a few steps back. If sometimes King of Cups is sometimes King of Cups can be really wonderful, but again we're back to this water energy, and King of Cups, I don't know, it just rings to me as being very indulgent. So being mindful, discerning when to indulge and not to indulge, not just indulging to escape, because cups can also be like escapist with the water. It also makes me feel very like Pisces energies too. So with Mars and Venus and Saturn all hanging out in Pisces. Oh yeah, I was just speaking to Mars, just went into Pisces. So here's our little Mars in Pisces. And Mars in Pisces is, he's going to be floating in the waters. He's not going to be taking clear, direct action. But there is a need for discernment message coming through. And wow, I told myself I was going to keep this short and not do another long video, but it's just flowing. It just feels correct. So I'm sort of indulging myself here. I don't think people have attention spans for this anymore, but where I want to go with this is where can you balance your inner masculine and feminine? because Venus just crossed Saturn, and Mars will do the same. I think Mars is going to catch up to Saturn at the new moon, and then they're going to be in a new phasal relationship. So they're having the hard conversations, which I just spoke of. So you know, Mars and Pisces can be a little bit like head in the sand. Want to stick your head in the sand and just ignore what's going on, or dismissing your anger. You know, I put out that whole video about Mars and anger, the last video, and it felt like just messages coming in from somewhere that I needed to really share. But then I was like reflecting on it later and thinking like, yeah, but Mars in Pisces denies their anger. So while Mars is in Pisces, you might not be dealing with like blind anger. It might be more about getting in touch with either your anger or just getting in touch with what's going on within you. And then how can you bring forth like a relaxed, caring, old soul energy of this otter into your endeavors? How to have some of that, again, balancing. I like that. Balance seems to be a key word lately. So we're balancing the root chakra with the crown chakra, balancing the masculine and feminine, all coming off of the equinox. And, you know, balance is Libra at its finest. So sometimes you have to go through the extremes to get there. So get in the pool, chill out. Lots of water coming through. So, you know, baths, salt spas, sweats, just drinking a lot of water, staying hydrated, and being discerning of your choice of beverage. I like that otter is like, oh, that cat wanted that latte at the beginning. Well, I get it. Okay, so last message, wrap this up. Before we do that, there's a Nine of Swords sitting on the top there that I haven't, I just set the deck down and that was sitting there. It grabbed my eye with the rose. You know, Mars and Pisces can also be very sensitive. Venus and Pisces, very sensitive. So how do we tend to this, like inner sensitivity, especially if there's some despair or loss or uncertainty coming through. So remember that your internal psychological state matters more than your experience in the world or what's, you know, all these threats pointing at you. How to tend to that. And again, coming back, there's this just message of grounding, and also grounding with water. So you could even think of like a little tap root, you know, like instead of just roots in the earth, like a little tap root to get some water and nourishment. And oh, I forgot to mention too, going off, the King of Cups is also the throat chakra. So you can see the theme coming through. It's actually very powerful. I don't know if I'm clearly communicating it, but I'm doing my best. That's all we can do, right? Another message just kind of sneaking in there. And I just made a mess of all the cards. Okay, the last final card is just the eclipse message for you if you're tuning in and you've made it this far. Okay, did you hear that fall out? Oh my goodness. Okay, I pulled the moon, but the Six of Cups fell out. So speaking of themes, ending on a ending on a high note here for the eclipse message. Six of Cups, you know, there might be some nostalgia coming up this week, and that's okay. Just let it flow, and if you can like use it in a creative way. I know for me, I've been really nostalgic about like music I used to love, like when music was really good, and headphones are kind of my safe place. So like whatever was sweet in the past, how can you hold that and reflect upon that and honor that? And then is there anything creatively you can do with it? And this is going to tie back to the first card with the High Priestess is the crown chakra, but they have her third eye with the moon, and this like, how can you be creative with what your inner vision is you want to bring forth? And there's kind of this like waterfall flow energy. Like what brings you joy, right? So I'm nostalgic for this music, but listening to it brings me such joy. I even just this morning put together a playlist of like songs I haven't listened to in a long time that it's just like, oh, this is so good. So even though that's not what this card is about, I feel like there's this message of find your safe place too. Not like your hiding place, but your safe, like what, you know, to truly thrive and be able to be in the world, like that you need to feel safe. That's just like fact. You know, there's all this stuff like, yes, you grow when you go outside your comfort zone, but like you're not going to get very far if there isn't like an internal set safety point and your root chakra is functioning where it needs to be. So the find your safe place, and then with the moon card, which is also asking you to go deeply, which also correlates back to the High Priestess, inner femininity, inner intuition, even being psychic. But in order to be a good psychic, you need to be grounded and boundaried. So not just running off into the astral realms. And that can also be a good time to do the shadow work. Moon illuminates that stuff we like to hide under the rug and pretend the elephant is in the room. And sometimes it's not fun when it comes up, but there might really be like a giant flashlight on it right now, and sometimes it hurts. Like sometimes I feel like the light of the moon, like I can feel the collective energies in me, and I need to remember to ground those out and not just like let my mind get all lunatic-y about it. So again, paying attention to your dreams over the full moon. This reminder that it's okay to get into the yin energy, to go within, be reflective, slow down, attract. You don't have to be like pushing so hard right now. Like give yourself that grace, and don't be afraid of the dark. Which this moon's so bright, it does nothing as dark at night. But but the idea of you can't see as clearly at night, so that like if you don't have all the answers, you don't have to be afraid of that. What's important is paying attention to your own intuitive processes. And the feminine by nature is dark. The womb space is dark, so it's like a different way of looking at going into the dark. It doesn't have to mean like the scary closet, although it can. It can also mean going into that creative, fertile space and not being afraid of that to create something new. So In this deck, it's also, again, the balance. It's saying the moon is balanced and mysterious. So how can you just honor the mystery of life? And that's going to be very, very healing. So what can be, in conclusion, what can be healed at this time as it relates to your inner femininity, inner friendship with others or with yourself, your inner flow, what hard conversations need to be had, where is there room for potential creativity and asking for more help and support, or maybe you're holding back or feeling held back, and it's just really honoring your own intuition. And with the moon, you have to feel. You can't see, so it's almost like you get this second sight. So how can you pay attention to your second sight, and how can you pay attention to what's going on in your subconscious, and what's going on with the shadow aspects? Because once you bring light to the shadow, it's no longer shadow. So I hope there was something helpful here for you if you listened this far, and take what you like, leave the rest for someone else, and I hope the eclipse energies aid in your growth, and the next 6 months take you to new places within and without. Be well.